Hi guys, this is Mrs. King with our Breakfast Club review for the Middle Ages quiz over Europe. Okay, first I'm going to give you a list of all the vocabulary words that are going to be on the quiz. In Breakfast Club we usually go over the word and the definition, but for this I'm going to give you the words, and then if you want extra credit you can post the answer underneath the video. Okay? Here are the vocabulary words for your quiz. First one is the Magna Carta. You also have chivalry and a knight. You have feudalism, which you need to make sure you have the whole definition for. Government where nobles protected people in return for services. Guilds, clergy, cathedrals, serfs, noble, and apprentice. So you have 10 vocabulary words for the first part of the quiz. Then for the rest of the quiz, the next thing on the quiz is you have to put in order the steps of how feudalism started. So you need to remember, the first step is the Roman Empire falls apart. When the Roman Empire falls apart, there's chaos everywhere, people are attacking. So Roman Empire collapses, different groups start attacking and trying to take over. People need protection, so they move on to a noble lord's castle. And then that's how feudalism starts. People move on to the manor, the noble lord agrees to protect them if the peasants will do the farming for them. So that's feudalism. So Roman Empire collapses, groups attack, people need protection, so they move on to the manors, and then that's how feudalism develops. Okay? So you're going to have to rank them 1, 2, 3, 4. So make sure you remember the order. Next question. You're going to need to know what guilds do today. Guilds do the same thing today that they did back in the day, which is protecting people. They make sure everybody gets paid equally, that people get treated fairly, that people get their vacation when they need it, that they have benefits, stuff like that. Okay, another question is asking you which of the following was a negative impact of increased trade. If you read the choices, there's only one real choice that's bad. A bad example of increased trade was the spreading of like the bubonic plague and stuff like that, because that's a bad side effect that tons of people died because the rats were on the ships went to different cities, the rats and the fleas spread the disease, so that's your negative impact. Another one is you have to tell me what is a right. What right found on the Magna Carta is also included in the United States Constitution. Now, think carefully. We talked about a lot of these, but the only choice that is correct is the one that says you have a right to a trial by jury. Okay, we talked about a whole bunch in class, but that's the only one that's actually in the Magna Carta that we have today that's listed on the quiz. So read your choices carefully. Then you have a question that says, who had the day-to-day power over the people in feudal society? The correct answer is noble lords. There still was a king. There was always a king. But the day-to-day power of the people belonged to the noble lords whose manor you lived on. Okay? So make sure you read that carefully also. Then the last multiple choice question is very confusing. So I'm going to read you the choice and kind of talk about it with you real quick. It says, what was the basic structure of feudalism in Western Europe in the 8th and 9th centuries? This is one of those questions that came off an OAT, so it's worded kind of confusing. So if you read through the choices, all the choices should give you a hint in the answer that makes it incorrect. The correct answer is nobles were given control of land in return for personal loyalty and specific services to the king, which if you read it should make sense. Because if you served the king, he gave you a fief, you could start your little manor, but that's what you did. If you served the king, he would give you land, that was your deal. Okay? The other ones are all incorrect. One of them is talking about peasants getting independence, which we know is wrong. One of them is talking about limiting the power of nobles, which we know is wrong. And then one of them is talking about paid soldiers serving the king, that's wrong. Okay? So keep in mind, it's the nobles who get land for serving the king. Okay? And then your last question is an essay question that you're supposed to write out, and you need to identify and describe 2 ways the Crusaders' contact with the Middle East changed European culture. So, one of them, you need to talk about how it helped ended feudalism. Because the nobles and the knights were off fighting, so the power shifted back to the king, which helped end feudalism. Because in feudalism, the noble lords have power because everyone lives on their land. The second thing it did is it increased trade with the Middle East. Because all these crusaders were coming back with new spices and silks and inventions and foods and all this kind of stuff from the Middle East. And so people in Europe wanted to continue getting those things, so it increased trade with the Middle East. Okay? Remember, you have to identify and describe each answer to get all 4 points for the essay question. Alright? Okay, so if you want extra credit for watching this video, you need to post something about one of the answers or post a question about something, and I can answer you back. Don't just post your name. I'm not giving you extra credit for that. But post an intelligent comment or a definition or something that's going to help us on the quiz, and you can get your extra credit. Okay? Good luck!